But Ann Coulter's book. I write a chapter on Ann Coulter, and she brags about having 752 footnotes. Actually, she has no footnotes. She has endnotes. There's a difference, because you don't check the endnotes, especially, I think, her readers, or she at least depends on that. For example, let me quote from her book. After Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas wrote an opinion contrary to the clearly expressed position of the New York Times editorial page, the Times responded with an editorial on Thomas titled "The Youngest, Cruelest Justice." That was actually the headline on a lead editorial in the newspaper of record. Thomas is not engaged on the substance of his judicial philosophy. He is called a colored lawn jockey for conservative white interests, race trader, black snake, chicken and biscuit eating Uncle Tom, house Negro and handkerchief head, Benedict Arnold and Judas Iscariot. All this from the tireless opponents of intolerance. Now, what percentage of her readers do you think that the New York Times, from this paragraph, called Clarence Thomas a chicken and biscuit eating Uncle Tom? I'll bet you like 99%. Well, this isn't from the New York Times. She endnotes them, and then you have to go back and find, oh, I see, this was a Playboy interview with somebody. Or, oh, I see, this was an SCLC conference. She does this all the time. Also, I'm kind of an expert on it because in a New York Observer article she said that we were friendly. I had met her once, and I guess I made the mistake of not just saying to her, "You're horrible. I hate you." And instead, I was cordial, so therefore I showed up as one of her friends. So in my book, I have a little thing. I say, even people Coulter consider friends says she's a lying bitch, one. A horror show of epic proportions, two, oh, the poor thing, and a bitch. And then the notes are on the bottom of the page, footnotes. One was me and my wife. Two is I bid. Oh, the poor thing is my wife to me. And the fourth is to another friend. I don't want to run over my time, but the book is very wide-ranging and it gets into a lot of things. And one of whom, and I know you don't like name-calling, and I know that you say you retract everything, but I do have Bill on the cover, and I want to just justify it, okay? Could I borrow your water? No? Molly? Oh, you're out? Thanks. Thanks.
Taste it first.
Yeah. Because I really need to tell this right. Okay, and Bill, you know a little bit of this story. A couple years ago, I'm watching CSpan, which I love to watch. And I see Bill promoting his book, No Spin Zone. And he's on, it's a format like this, actually. It's a moderator just with him, though. And he says, the moderator says something like, you hosted Inside Edition, which was a tabloid show. And Bill says, tabloid show, we won 2 Peabodys. And the guy said, well, yeah, but you got to admit, it was kind of a tabloid show. And he goes, Peabody's only the most prestigious award in journalism. We won 2 of them. The guy says, well, yeah, but it had kind of a tabloidy format. And he says, you want us to give our 2 Peabodys back? So I'm watching this, and I'm going like, Inside Edition never won a Peabody. So I nexus Peabody and Inside Edition. And I do get 3 hits, and they're all Bill saying on his show that Inside Edition had won the Peabody. Here's one from August 30th. I anchored a program called Inside Edition, which has won a Peabody Award. There it won 1. May 8th, you won 2. Well, all I've got to say is that Inside Edition has won, I believe, you did qualify it, 2 Peabody Awards, the highest journalism award in the country. And then on May 19th, 2000, you go into this long thing about, someone says it's, Neville says, he says you hosted Inside Edition, you say correct, which is considered a tabloid show, you say by whom? By many people, does that mean, and then you say we throw the Peabody Awards back, we won Peabody Awards. So I go to the Peabody website, and look for Inside Edition Peabody Awards, and there aren't any. And I called the Peabody people, and I said, did you guys give Inside Edition a Peabody? And there was some laughter. And, you know, because I'm thinking, what was it for? You know, How Bare is Too Bare, or, you know, something on Madonna's first, you know, the father of her first baby, maybe you won it for. But they say, no, they've never won it. So I call Bill, and you were really nice. You called me back. And you said, yeah, what is it, Al? And it was very warm. And I said, I saw you on CSpan. You said you won, Inside Edition won 2 Peabodys. Well, we did. I said, well, you really should talk to the Peabody people about that, because they don't think you did. And he said, I'll call you back. Calls me back 5 minutes. You remember this? He says, okay, it was a poke. I say, a poke? He said, yeah, it's just as prestigious as the Peabody. I said, so there are 2 most prestigious awards in journalism. He says, Al, it's very, very prestigious. I said, well, okay, don't you think it's odd that you got it wrong about a journalism award? And he says, Al, if you want to go after me, go ahead. So I say, okay. So I call the Washington Post. I call Lloyd Grove at the Washington Post, and I tell him the whole thing, and he calls Bill, and Bill says Al has a jihad against me or something, so I got a poke. Now Bill, see, I had sort of expected Bill to go, gee, Al, thanks for pointing this out. Boy, is that embarrassing. Woo! Boy, I don't want to make that mistake again. No, but it was, go ahead, go after me. So Bill in the thing acknowledges making a mistake, so big deal. You go on your show and say big deal. About a few weeks later, a columnist from Newsday picks it up and writes a column called Not All the Facts on the Factor are Facts, or something like that. And then you do a little special thing. You're out with Michael Wolff, and on attack journalism, you introduce a personal story segment on attack journalism. This is personal to me because some writers are really violating every tenet of fairness in what they're saying in print about your humble servant. And then you say, I'll give you an example. Guy says about me a couple weeks ago, O'Reilly said he won a Peabody Award. Never said it. See, this is why you don't retract things, because you just continue. You can't find a transcript where I said it. There is no one on earth you could bring in that would say I said it. Robert Reno in Newsday, a columnist, writes in his column, calls me a liar, all right? And it's totally fabricated. That's attack journalism. It's dishonest, it's disgusting, and it hurts reputations. Wolf, the media critic from the New York Magazine, says it's also incorrect journalism if it's wrong. It's wrong. Okay, well, then the guy made a mistake. No, come on. He made a mistake. That lives forever in Nexus. And he did write a column, and did he write a column the next day saying he made a mistake? Well, obviously you should. Usually I find if someone made a mistake, if you ask them to correct it, they do correct it. Not in this society anymore. So, Bill, I'm sorry I call you one of the many people who do lie in my book. And I guess we're going to have some question and answer, so you have a chance to respond to that. And there's others. I mean, you know, it goes on and on. And there are so many other people on the right who do it too, and they'll be enumerated in the book, and it's important. And it's really important. And it's important because we've been just taking it. We have been taking it and taking it on the left. You know, I went to that Wellstone Memorial. The next day I hear Rush Limbaugh on the radio going, "There was no memorializing, my friends." They distorted that thing. I do a case study of that thing. They distorted that memorial so badly. And I wish Tucker were here today, because Tucker the next day said that Republican senators who had come, who were friends of Wellstone, were shouted down by people, by the crowd when they were trying to speak, when they tried to speak. That wasn't the format of the memorial. There was lie after lie. Weekly Standard, Christopher Caldwell did the most vicious thing on that, on the Wellstone Memorial, did not see it. All he saw, I think, were some clips on Fox that Mr. Hannity had put together. So I got this chapter and verse, and I got it. And we're not going to sit for it anymore. We just aren't. Okay, I'll finish for now. I could go on all day.
I know you could.
And I know you could,
about
too.
have. You just about have.
Yeah, you tell him, Bill.
We're supposed to be on here for 15 minutes. This idiot goes 35, okay? All he's got in 6.5 years is that I misspoke, that I labeled a Polk Award at Peabody. He writes it in his book. He tries to make me out to be a liar.
No,
hey,
that's
shut
not
up.
No,
you had your 35 minutes. Shut up.
This isn't your show,
This is what this guy
Bill.
does.
Bill,
this is
you
what
can
he
tell
does.
me. You can't tell.
This is what he does.
Take control, Pat. Come on.
Hey.
I think, wait a minute, I think I need a whistle and a striped shirt.
Wait a minute,
I'm not to be a referee.
Maybe I went on long because I
Broder,
got some
I asked him to
laughs,
say,
Bill.
can you please control him? This guy accuses me of being a liar, ladies and gentlemen, on national television because I misspoke and labeled a Peabody a Polk. I didn't mention we won 4 national headliners, okay? This is what this guy does. He demonizes it, all right? And then other people pick it up. Now, if it's important to you that I misspoke and labeled a Peabody
You
a
didn't
Polk,
just misspeak.
That's fine. That's fine, okay? This is what he does. He's a vicious, and that is with a capital V, person who is blinded by ideology. And that's all I'll say about the rebuttal.
Thank you very much. And I think what we need to do
I want to
is reclaim all of this. The one thing I want to say to the wonderful booksellers in this room, if your customers tell you that there isn't a variety of books coming out this fall, your customers aren't paying attention. Because I must say, I think we have shown here this tremendous range. And I think one of the things that all of us stand for, booksellers and publishers very vigorously, is free speech and freedom of expression. And